Welcome to your Optimal Personal Economy podcast with Justin Bennett. Your personal economy is your ability to create, protect, preserve, and utilize your wealth, your financial world. Justin will share strategies and stories to help you optimize your personal economy. Now, on to the show with Justin Bennett and co-host Matt Halloran.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of your Optimal Personal Economy. Yope. This is Justin Bennett here. I thought it would be a good idea to spend some time here today to talk about, I guess, a case study is what it's often referred to as, but I think it'll probably give the listeners an opportunity to understand a situation that we were in recently, and it may apply to them, it may not, but we've got this one client that I'm thinking about, that we had this experience with. Very, very good longtime client. Of course, all of our clients are good clients. And he had reached out to me, and we were doing a review, and we were going over his cash flow. We were going over his current position within his business. We were going, just through all this updating of information to understand how things are different or the same in some cases compared to when the last time we talked on a formal basis, because this client and I talk at least one time a month. But we were doing more of a review discussion, and he had brought up to me this idea that his wife has been out of the workforce for a number of years because she's been helping out to raise their children. And he was just kind of considering this idea to put her on payroll. And so rather than just kind of randomly, making a decision and putting her on payroll, we gave it a little bit more thought, and we were a little bit more intentional about whether or not to add her to payroll. And I'm not a Social Security expert, but what I have done is I've been able to develop a relationship with other folks, other professionals that do, understand Social Security and the formulas that go into it in a little bit more granular detail than maybe I understand it. And we're talking about Social Security as you're creating wealth, not Social Security as you're distributing it or what type of benefit you should elect here. So it's kind of a conversation that is oftentimes just overlooked or not given the attention that it deserves. So he was thinking about putting his wife on the payroll for, $50,000, $60,000 a year. And he himself has been making high income, high six-figure income, almost into seven-figure income. And he was, wondering, would it make economic and financial sense to put her on payroll so that he could try to get her to max out her benefit. What we had learned is that, if she does not go on payroll at all between now and her retirement age, according to the government and Social Security, of whether it be 62 and a half early or 66 and a half full, she would receive half of his benefit. In other words, she's eligible to receive no additional income from this point forward and still be eligible to receive half of his full benefit. And so because he's maxing out and has maxed out his benefit, we kind of have an idea of what half of his benefit would be to her. So we have that idea. So what we were thinking about is if she went on payroll, if the wife went on payroll for $50,000 or $60,000, right? And Social Security uses a formula of, call it the average annual income of your highest 30 income earning years. She's going to only receive income for another 15, 16, 17 years. She's been receiving income of zero for a number of years. Her average income is going to be relatively low for purposes of calculating what her future benefit would be. So I think the takeaway, the conclusion was that, it did not make economic sense to put her on payroll to try to, max out her Social Security benefit, which even if she did max it out, it still would have been half of his full benefit. So it was a decision that we don't spend a lot of time on. However, when a client and us talks about a certain topic or certain issue or certain matter, if we're not able to arrive at a decision through an analysis based on facts, then we will utilize an outside professional that has expertise in that particular area. And so it was very, very favorable to the client. It was very well received to the client or by the client, and so I kind of looked at his question to put his wife on payroll through the lens of the Social Security benefit, future Social Security benefit. I also looked at it through the lens of if he wanted to put her on payroll, she would then be able to defer some of her compensation into a retirement plan. And whether a retirement plan, whether putting money into a pre-tax retirement plan is a good thing or a bad thing, that's not how we came at this assessment, right? We came at this assessment where it's based on a certain set of facts and circumstances whereby his income is very, very high. He's maxing out his qualified plan. He's saving a substantial amount of after-tax money in different buckets that he should be saving it in to create optimal balance. And so if he put her on payroll for $20, $30, $40, $50,000, and so as long as she's working 1,000 hours per year, she becomes eligible for the 401k, and it just happens to be a way in which she would be able to put money into a 401k on a tax-deferred basis. However, it would come at a cost. There's payroll taxes, and if she does generate income greater than the IRS maximum allowable amount that can be contributed, then there's going to be federal income taxes and state income taxes. So, I think when it comes down to the type of work that we do, it needs to be understood that let's look at all the facts and circumstances related to a client and his or her situation, and let's try to understand what makes the most sense and do it in a way where it's coordinated, it's integrated. We're not taking an opinion-based approach, and we're not doing it, just because a just because approach suggests that there's no thought, there's no consideration that was placed into the decision or into the analysis. So I think, the people that we serve appreciate the thoroughness and the candor that we are able to give their planning, because their planning deserves greatness. Their planning deserves the attention that we're able to give it. So I thought this would be helpful. I know it's a little bit of a in the weeds type of a discussion as it relates to a case study, but I think it gives the listeners, certainly the ones that we're serving, which, I think there's a large population of these listeners that are clients of ours, a reminder of the type of work that we do. But it also gives the listeners that we may not be serving at this point an understanding on how we operate, which then gives them the ability to know if we will be the right fit for them, and then we could obviously determine if they're the right fit for us. So we could kind of make that mutual assessment. So that's all I got for you today. So we'll see you on the other side of the mic. Thanks so much.
Justin Bennett, registered representative of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS, OSJ Northeast Planning Corporation, 1150 Raritan Road, Suite 201, Cranford, New Jersey, 07016, 908-709-0020. Securities products offered through PAS, member FINRA SIPC. Financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. PAS is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Bennett Financial Group LLC is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. California Insurance License Number 0H88104. This podcast is for informational purposes only. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by PAS, Guardian, or Bennett Financial Group LLC, and opinions stated are their own. 2020-104984, expiration 7 of 22.